So my psychiatrist has never actually said as much, but I'm pretty sure he thinks I'm an idiot. To back this up a little bit, every time I have a psychiatry appointment, I, come up with a list of things that I want to talk to my psychiatrist about. And, I have a bunch of concerns that I want to bring up or things to talk about with them. And then the second I walk into the office or answer the call now during the time of COVID, everything just goes flying out of my brain. And I clam up. I don't know what to say. I don't know what I wanted to talk about. And I just kind of forget everything and just kind of go silent. I think for a long time, I thought I was an idiot because why can't I communicate with this person who's trying to help me? But talking to other people who visit psychiatrists regularly or not regularly, I think this is a very common thing that happens. It's because, there's a degree of power imbalance involved with a patient and a psychiatrist where, there's just not a great deal of understanding that the patient is really the one who kind of directs care in terms of how much they offer, in terms of giving information about what they're experiencing, as well as kind of guiding what their goals are for care and stuff. And so it's very important to be able to communicate effectively with your psychiatrist. But I think that having difficulties with this is something that a lot of people struggle with. And to kind of further explain this power imbalance, I think that it's often seen as, the psychiatrist is the one who's going to slap a diagnosis on me. And I don't want to misguide them in that. I don't want, to get a stigmatized diagnosis. And there's a lot of, shame wrapped up in the things that you're supposed to be talking about. And sometimes it's embarrassing to bring up some of the stuff that you should be talking about, which probably further creates a problem in this regard. And it's not just psychiatrists that this happens with. It's kind of all professionals that deal with mental health for a patient. So it happens with my therapist sometimes too, where I just completely forget everything that I needed to talk to them about, or I become embarrassed and kind of just go quiet instead of talking to them about the things that I had wanted to talk to them about. This happens to me too when I go to the doctor and there's this urge to minimize whatever it is I'm experiencing or struggling with. An example of doing this with my psychiatrist is I can be experiencing a devastating low, constant thoughts of suicide and crying all the time. And my psychiatrist asks me how I'm doing and I'm like, I'm doing okay. And very clearly I'm not doing okay. Or they ask, how's your mood? And I'm like, it's kind of low, it's a little low right now. And just trying to minimize what's going on with you because you don't want it to be a serious issue, and also because you don't want to divulge that you're in a vulnerable, compromised state like that. So before I get into, how to address this and how to work through this, I just want to say that if you're new here, my name is Lauren and I make videos about what it's like to live with mental illness, particularly schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe. And also, if you're interested in helping us create videos like this, please check out the link to our Patreon page. Also, if you're interested in being a part of a supportive peer support community online, we also provide access to our private Discord community once you become a patron. We offer weekly peer support groups, and if that's something that interests you, or if you'd just like to help support us, please check out our Patreon page. All right, so what do you do if you clam up frequently when you go to the psychiatrist or speak with a therapist or that kind of thing? So some strategies that I've employed before are writing is a really it's a better way for me personally to communicate than verbally typically. And so what I would do is I would send my therapist emails between our sessions with whatever was going on with me, whatever it was that I felt I needed to talk to them about. I would send them an email and they didn't need to read it right away. I would say that this is just for our next session. And then they would read it either before our session or during our session, and that would kind of facilitate conversation about what it was that I really wanted to talk about. And that kind of eliminates the face-to-face embarrassment or, tendency to minimize that I was talking about because you're just writing it down basically and then hitting send. So it's a lot easier for me personally. Now, you don't need to email. You can also just write it down, and you can bring the piece of paper to your appointment, or you can write it in your notes on your phone and bring that to your appointment. You can read it to your therapist or psychiatrist, or if that feels like too much too, you can just hand your phone or hand the piece of paper to them and they can read it. These are just kind of some strategies to help facilitate this kind of not embarrassing, because it shouldn't be embarrassing, but more vulnerable communication. Now, there's also the issue of just really forgetting everything the second you step into the psychiatrist office or the second you start speaking to them. This happens to me all the time, where I just can't really remember, what I've been struggling with, and my mind just kind of goes blank. And so what's helped with this in the past is keeping kind of a symptom diary or symptom journal where, at the end of the day, I will write down the symptoms that I experienced that day. I will rate my mood on a scale of 0 to 10 and give any descriptors I can about how I was feeling that day. And then that's helpful to kind of reference back when you're talking with your psychiatrist and go, yeah, I noticed I had a dip these days, or I was doing really well these days, or I was having some paranoia, or whatever it may be these days. Something else that helps me kind of jog my memory before I have my appointment is to talk about, what I want to talk about in the appointment with my partner. This kind of helps to just bring things back to the forefront of my brain and to kind of practice communicating about it as well. Now, you can also take this a step further and actually bring a loved one to support you in your appointment. So that can help, if they've bared witness to you throughout the last however long it's been since you've seen your practitioner, to kind of help you communicate how you've been, or to help you communicate for things you need to talk about, or to help you advocate for yourself and that kind of thing. It can just be kind of not only, helpful for them to bring stuff up, but it can also create a safer space for you to bring stuff up too. Something that also I find really helpful is when my psychiatrist kind of notices that I'm clamming up or not or having difficulties communicating. He kind of knows the probing questions to ask me, things that I typically struggle with or things that I could be struggling with, and kind of directly hits upon those things so that I can kind of just answer, briefly whatever he's focused on in that moment. And to facilitate this with your psychiatrist, you can absolutely say, hey, I'm having a hard time remembering things, or I'm having a hard time communicating with you. And so just kind of letting them know that you're struggling with this a little bit will help them to know to probe a little bit further. All right, so those are my tips for when you just clam up with your psychiatrist. I also want to just let you know that I highly doubt your psychiatrist thinks you're an idiot. I said that because that's how I feel sometimes when I'm going to see my psychiatrist and I can't remember anything, but I'm fairly sure deep down that my psychiatrist doesn't actually think I'm an idiot. And I don't think your psychiatrist is judging you if you're having a hard time communicating either. It can be really helpful to just let them know that you're having a hard time, or to work on using any of the strategies that I talked about in this video. If you have any other strategies that I didn't mention, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to leave it in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more content. Also, just a quick reminder that you can help us in creating these videos by becoming a patron. We also just want to give a huge thank you to all of our current patrons. We absolutely could not be doing this without you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.